Nyug na, hindi na buko. Ano ba yan? Go ahead. Next.
From the Government Procurement Policy Board, Ms. Rowena Candince Ruiz.
Ms. Rowena Ruiz.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I'm here. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I'm raising my hand.
Okay, sige. Go ahead.
Thank you.
From PhilJets, Ms. Rosa Maria Clemente, Director
Good
for.
morning, Mr. Chairperson.
Yes, Rose. Thank you very much.
From Food and Drug Administration, Rolando Enrique Domingo, Director General.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning. It's good to see you, Eric. Good morning.
From Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, Attorney Dante Giran,
All right.
President and CEO.
All right. Dante Giran, are you there? Dante Giran, are you there? There's no reply. Mark him absent.
Attorney Jose Marie Tolentino, Senior Vice President.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Present.
All right, Mr. Tolentino. All right.
Attorney Rogelio Pocalan, Senior Manager.
Mr. Pucalian? Mr. Pucalian, are you there? Pucalan or Pucalian?
Morning, Mr. Chair. I'm present po.
Where are you? Turn on your video.
Here na po, Mr. Chair.
I don't see you in the video. Were these people actually invited, Rudy?
Yes, sir. No, they team together with the.
So they're brought by Mr. Giran. Okay, go ahead.
From Philippine Medical Association, Dr. Noemi Sarabia.
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Sarabia? Okay, Noemi. Okay.
From St. Luke's Medical Center Employees Association, Mr. Hao Klumia.
Present, Mr. Chair. Good morning.
Okay. How Klumia? All right, thank you.
From Creotech Philippines, EMS Components Assembly, EMS Land Services, EMS Resource Technology, EMS Service International, EMS Services Philippines, and Alliance Mansols Inc. The brothers, Mr. Ferdinand Ferrer and Mr. Fernando Guerrero.
Present, Mr. Chairman. Ferdinand Ferrer here.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrer.
Present, Mr. Chairman. Fernando Ferrer here.
Yeah. Again, I ask, who's older? He is, Ferry is
Yes.
older.
Ferry is older.
Okay, thank you. All right.
From New Life Pharmaceutical, Mr. Girish Sitaldas.
Present, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you.
From
Girish.
Pharmally Pharmaceutical Corporation, Mr. Chair Huang Tzu-Yen, Chairman and
present.
President.
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, good morning, Wang. Good morning.
Mr. Mohit Dargani.
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Where's Mohit? Are you still in LA?
Mr. Chairman, still in
You're in
LA.
LA, right? You're in LA?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Ms. Twinkle
Are
Dargani.
you there, Twinkle?
Yes, present, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Twinkle is declared present. Justin Garardo?
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Good morning.
Mr. Lincoln Ong, are you there?
Present, Mr. Chairman. Good morning po.
Good morning. Okay. Grace Mago, are you there?
Present po, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Miss Leonada Sebial, are you there? Certified public accountant, right? Are you there, Miss Sebial? Margaret? You answered our question the other day. You have to answer the question. So I was looking for you. Go ahead.
From Philippine Pharmawell, Jason Valdez West.
Present, Your Honor.
All right, I can see you. All right.
Jonas De Pala.
Present, Your Honor.
All right.
Maylene Villanueva.
Yeah, so
Present, Your Honor.
yes, okay, thank you. Go ahead.
From From Philippine Blue Cross Biotech, Mr. Benito Techico and Mr. Wilson Techico.
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Wilson, all right, thank you.
Attorney Wendell Abisado, former Secretary DBM, is also here, Mr. Chair.
Present, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Next.
Samuel Dagpin, Chairman, Governance Commission for GOCC.
Present, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Thank you, good morning.
Raymond Abrea, CPA MBA.
Present, Mr. Chairman. Good morning.
Thank you for coming again, thank you. Walsh.
Dr. Anthony Liachon,
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Attorney Lloyd Christopher Lau,
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Present. Here.
Attorney Paulo Teston.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Present.
Okay, thank you. Turning the test on. Okay, who else?
Those are the persons present right now, Mr.
Okay, please administer the oath to those who were not here before.
Yes, Your Honor. For those who are here for the first time, kindly raise your right hand. And please turn on your camera
Identify
so
yourself.
that
Identify yourself. There, I see Mr. I cannot, please speak up, Mr. Maronilla.
Your Honor, we're here, Your Honor. We're raising our hand.
Okay, you're there, all right? Dalawa kayo, no? O tatlo pala kayo dyan. State your names.
Four. Edward Tibupo, Your Honor. Attorney Vincent Maranila, Your Honor.
Director
Yeah.
Lamas, Your Honor.
Deputy Commissioner Raniel Ramiro, Your Honor.
All right, make sure you have their names, all right?
yes, Your Honor.
Are there anybody else?
Dr. Napoleon Arevalo from DOH
Arevalo?
Technical.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding?
Yes, I do.
A picture will be taken. Please hold on.
Can you please put on your video, Mr. Arevalo, Dr. Arevalo? By the way, you may address me as Mr. Chairman, not Mr. Chair. Obviously,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Pictures will be taken. Slide one.
Can you turn on your video, please, with Dr. Arevalo? Dr. Arevalo, you're directed to turn on your video. You cannot be in the picture without that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm having a little difficulty in starting my video.
Are you in the DOH building?
No, sir. I am at home. I am already retired.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, my apologies. All
Thank
right.
you po.
All right. Later
I'm
on,
having difficulty, Mr. Chairman, in turning on my video. Thank you po.
Thank you. All right.
Slide one.
When we can you turn on your video, please, with Dr. Arevalo? We will administer the oath when we can see you. All right. In the meantime, have somebody fix your video. Dr. Arevalo, you're directed to turn on your video. You cannot be in the picture without that. Maybe you should reboot.
Mr. Chairman, I'm having a little difficulty in starting my video.
Are you in the DOH building? All right.
No, sir. I am at home. I am already
Mr. Chair,
retired.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. My apologies. All right. All right.
I'm having difficulty, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Folks involved. Anybody else?
Chairman. Mr. Chairman, there are two persons, Mr. Chairman, that I made the record last Friday night that when my turn comes, I hope to pose questions to Mr. Chairman. So may I please inquire if Mr. Michael Yang is again present in this hearing? And second and lastly, Mr. Chairman, may I also please inquire if Ms. Rose Ono Lim was given an invitation to serve as a witness and is present to answer questions, Mr. Chairman. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, there are two persons, Mr. Chairman, that I made a record last Friday night.
Or not?
Our records show that he is not yet present.
Mr. Chairman, good morning.
Who is that?
Attorney Fortune, Your Honor.
Raymond, go ahead. Where's your client?
Good morning.
I presume you're his
Good
client,
morning,
right?
Mr. Chairman, and to all the senators.
Yes.
I would like to, I regret that Mr. Michael Young would not be able to attend today's hearing. May I be allowed to explain?
Go ahead, make it quick.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are supposed to be meeting here at a place in Insular Village 1 before 9:30 today. On the way, he had texted me and then subsequently called and said that his blood pressure had suddenly shot up. And for that reason, he was advised by his doctor to just stay at home. Apparently, because of the proceedings, his health has been affected, Your Honors.
But he looks healthy enough. He's still under contempt and under an arrest for contempt, and he will have to appear. I think blood pressures go up and down.
Yes, Your Honors. Mr. Chairman, I will certainly undertake that to provide the necessary medical certificate to support my statement today, Mr. Chairman.
No, we're not going to give him a free pass. He can appear. He's not under pressure there. He's in Davao where he's comfortable. He can bring his doctor if he wills, and we want to see him. We cannot wait for people who would always say, that always occurs. When somebody's under investigation, they come in a wheelchair, show their picture, and they cannot appear. Or they're in a hospital bed. Mr. Young is healthy enough, as far as I'm concerned. I think he can face the music. So please tell your client that we would expect him to appear in the course of the hearing, especially when we start having questions against him. And we have questions, a lot of questions.
I will duly advise.
Okay?
Yes, Mr. Chair. You can trust me.
Enough to know that we're men of our word, correct?
Yes, certainly, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
You can also
Mr.
trust
Chairman.
me in that.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
This is Senator Tolentino. Just morning.
Senator Tolentino is present. Go ahead.
Yes, just an inquiry, Mr. Chairman. Do I understand that we are now revising the order of questioning based on a day-to-day attendance, so that the previous attendance and line of questioning will not be carried over, Mr. Chairman? Just for inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, we still have that. We'll follow the ones who were not called. Will have first crack at it. And I'm getting the list here right now, and I'll be with you shortly. In the meantime, I would like to make sure that we have an answer to Mr. Alan Lee, alias what's his name?
Lin Wei Xiong.
Alias Lin Wei Xiong, and his wife, Rose Nono Lin. Have we issued an invitation?
Honor, a subpoena was issued by the committee. The OSAA in their report said that the subpoena to both were not served because according to Mr. Ronald Madulid, guard on duty at the administrative office of La Fuerza, the tenant of the warehouse 8 is Idea Stream, owned by a certain Mr. John Junicio. He also said that since he started working in La Fuerza 8 years ago, Idea Stream has always been the tenant of Warehouse 8. According to security guard Mr. Madolid, Idea Stream has not resumed their operation since the start of the pandemic in March 2020. We got that address from their incorporation papers, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman.
Let me just respond with your permission. You're saying that you have not been able to serve him summons. Is that correct? Or subpoena?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. Not yet, Your Honor.
And you're saying that the place, what is the address again?
It's
yes,
Warehouse 8 in La Fuerza.
Warehouse 8
in Makati, Your Honor.
In Makati?
Yes, Your
La,
Honor.
La,
Fuerza.
La Fuerza, the Force.
Yes, sir. I
224. Chino Ross
it's in
Avenue.
Patong Tamo.
Is it a warehouse or an office?
The address is called the address is called Warehouse 8. We have not seen the physical layout, so we don't know if it's just a name or if it's really a warehouse, Your Honor. We will endeavor, Your Honor, to
I understand.
get other
The order
addresses.
last time, Director General, is that we issue an invitation to roast Nono Lim. Upon motion of Senator Hontiveros, he wanted the subpoena issued. Have you done that?
Yes, sir. A subpoena was issued and a subpoena was served on the address provided in the incorporation papers. It was not, however, successfully served because the persons named in the subpoena, Ms. Rose Nono Lin and Mr. Alan Lim or Lin Wei Xiong, did not hold office there, Your Honor.
Now, I have a letter here coming from the law offices of Siguen Reyna in Montecillo and Ongshaco. And it says, we write on behalf of our client, and it says the residence address, residence address of Ms. Rose Nono Lim. We write on behalf of our client, Ms. Rose Nono Lim, in relation to the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's investigation of the 2020 COA report and other issues related to the budget utilization of the Department of Health. We understand from various news reports that Senator Rizal Hontiveros had moved for the issuance of a subpoena to our client last Friday, 10 September. However, as of the time of this writing, no subpoena has been served on our client. To ensure a timely receipt, the subpoena may be served at her residence at 747 Quirino Highway, Barangay San Bartolome, Novaliches, Quezon City. Signed, Siguen Reyna, Montecillo, and Ongshaco Law Offices by Alma Fernandez Malionga and Augusto Leon A. Makatangay. Please, sir, if we have issued a subpoena already, then issue it right now, send the OSA there so that we can know what her disposition is. And I'm sure she's watching on television right now.
Yes, Your Honor. We will inform the Office of the Sergeant at Arms immediately.
And please proceed with it very quickly because we need her. She's vital. All right? And I don't know why she wouldn't come in. If you had nothing to hide, she should have said, all right, don't have the lawyer, don't need the lawyer to come in. And if she's very open about her affairs, then she can say, although I did not get a subpoena, I can appear here. That would have been a better thing to do. That would be helpful. Just a suggestion. All right?
On it, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So who's next after this? The order will be, I think, Mr. Pacquiao. No, Mr. Pangilinan will continue. I'm sorry, she's not finished yet. And then Mr. Pacquiao, Ms. Marcos, Ms. Poe, Ms. Hontiveros, Mr. Go, Ms. Cayetano, Mr. Pimentel, Mr. Angara, and Ms. Villar. I refer to them by their names because even in the Congress or in the we refer to them as Mr. or Senator because we know who we are. All right. Anyway, that is the list, and Senator Tolentino, you're so informed. In the meantime, let me just proceed because we've wasted enough time already. I wish we could do this faster, but we have to follow the strictures of presence and administration of oath. All right. On that note, this hearing is now called to order formally. And you may take the previous statement. I already called it earlier. I already banged the gavel earlier, and I banged the gavel again just to formalize, to be sure there's no question. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and to all our fellow senators and all our guests. In the past few hearings, we discovered the neglect on the welfare of our frontline soldiers in our fight, and our frontline people, folks, in our fight against COVID-19. The nurses, the doctors, and other healthcare workers who are our sentinels in the fight against COVID-19. Their task is very important and certainly very perilous. Lately, we have heard of the resignation of 10 volunteer doctors from PGH who were doctors from the DOH who were earning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, 50,000 pesos a month. To all our fellow senators and all Jonas Del Rosario of the PGH. Our guests, wala naman po kami masabi dahil nagtrabaho sila sa PGH and their decision to leave as personal na po yun.
Discovered the neglect and the welfare of our frontline soldiers in our fight and our frontline people, folks, in our fight against COVID-19. The nurses, the doctors, and other healthcare workers who are our sentinels in the fight against COVID-19. Their task is very important and certainly very perilous. Lately, we have heard of the resignation of 10 volunteer doctors from PGH who were doctors of the DOH who were earning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, 50,000 pesos a month. All our fellow senators and all Jonas Del Rosario and our guests, wala naman po kami masabi dahil nagtrabaho sila sa PGH and their decision to leave. Last few hearings, we discovered the neglect and the welfare of our frontline soldiers in our fight and our frontline people, folks, PGH, and our fight against COVID-19. The nurses, the doctors, and other healthcare workers who are our sentinels in the fight against COVID-19. Their task is very important and certainly very perilous. Lately, we have heard of the resignation of 10 volunteer doctors from PGH who were doctors of the DOH who were earning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, 50,000 pesos a month. All our fellow senators and all Jonas Del Rosario and our guests, wala naman po kami masabi dahil nagtrabaho sila sa PGH and their decision to leave. Last few hearings, we discovered the neglect and the welfare of our frontline soldiers in our fight and our frontline people, folks, PGH, and our fight against COVID-19. The nurses, the doctors, and other healthcare workers who are our sentinels in the fight against COVID-19. Their task is very important and certainly very perilous. Lately, we have heard of the resignation of 10 volunteer doctors from PGH who were doctors of the DOH who were earning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, 50,000 pesos a month. All our fellow senators and all Jonas Del Rosario and our guests, wala naman po kami masabi dahil nagtrabaho sila sa PGH and their decision to leave. Last few hearings, we discovered the neglect and welfare of our frontline soldiers in our fight and our frontline people, folks, PGH, and our fight against COVID-19. The nurses, the doctors, and other healthcare workers who are our sentinels in the fight against COVID-19. Their task is very important and certainly very perilous. Lately, we have heard of the resignation of 10 volunteer doctors from PGH who were doctors of the DOH who were earning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, 50,000 pesos a month. All our fellow senators and all Jonas Del Rosario and our guests, wala naman po kami masabi dahil nagtrabaho sila sa PGH and their decision to leave. Last few hearings, we discovered the neglect and welfare of our frontline soldiers in our fight and our frontline people, folks, PGH, and our fight against COVID-19. The nurses, the doctors, and other healthcare workers who are our sentinels in the fight against COVID-19. Their task is very important and certainly very perilous. Lately, we have heard of the resignation of 10 volunteer doctors from PGH who were doctors of the DOH who were earning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, 50,000 pesos a month. All our fellow senators and all Jonas Del Rosario and our guests, wala naman po kami masabi dahil nagtrabaho sila sa PGH and their decision to leave. Last few hearings, we discovered the neglect and welfare of our frontline soldiers in our fight and our frontline people, folks, PGH, and our fight against COVID-19. The nurses, the doctors, and other healthcare workers who are our sentinels in the fight against COVID-19. Their task is very important and certainly very perilous. Lately, we have heard of the resignation of 10 volunteer doctors from PGH who were doctors of the
Balita ko nakakuha na naman raw ng pera. I have not confirmed that na 800 plus million ang nakuha. Pero kulang pa rin, marami pa rin umaangal, hindi lang nabayaran. That is something that we also try to do. And this afternoon, upon the assurances of our fellow senators and our caucus, Senator Subiri said they will take up the bill that will create an appropriation that we filed with Senator Angara for the healthcare workers. So I just hope to make sure if we have time, we will call the nurses as well as the healthcare workers later on, just to be sure that you don't feel forlorn na hindi namin inaasikaso. Ari namin kayong tawagin later on kung may oras pa tayo. At wag ko kayong bibitaw sapagkat talagang gagawin natin ang lahat para matulungan lahat ang ating mga kailangan. Matulungan. Ang konteksto po natin ngayon, maraming namamatay, maraming nagkakasakit, maraming nagugutom at walang trabaho, walang ayuda at kulang na kulang pa rin sa mga paaralan na makapasok yung mga bata. Ngayon sa puntong ito, we can now contemplate
na mukhang lumabas na talagang halimbawa talagang walang pangdakan na talagang walang tinatawag na due diligence ang ginawa nitong mga tiga PSDBM. Hindi ko nila lahat. Specifically, narinig natin na naging negligent si Chairman, si Mr. Lau. At ganoon na rin yung mga kasama dyan. Kaya tatalangin natin mamaya si Mr. Leong. Ito ay gusto namin sabihin kay Secretary Medjaldia, hindi po kami nambubulo rito, ginagawa po namin tungkulin. At dahil dyan, napalabas na po natin na si Mr. Yang, and I can only speculate, ay talagang damang ma-contempt because sabi niya nung umpisa, wala siyang kinalaman sa Farmali, bukod lamang doon sa pagdala niya sa Pangulo ng Pilipinas. Sinabi niya rito na 22 years na siya rito at sabi niya, it is only through the news that he found out about the existence of Farmali Pharmaceutical, quote-unquote. Yan ang sinabi ni Mr. Yang through his interpreter. Pero napatunayan natin kay Mr. Lincoln Ong sa pagsusuri ng mga senador at na talagang nagbibigay ng pera si Mr. Yang, siya nagpapakilala sa mga Chinese sa China at yan ay napatunayan natin at hanggang si Mr. Wang ay nagsabi na talagang tumanggap siya ng pera sa ang kakal ng korporasyon ng pera. Hindi ko na papalawigin yan, magtatanong pa tayo mamaya dyan. So anong nangyari dyan ay talagang lumabas na nagsisinungaling sila. And for the benefit of Mr. Wang who's listening here, there were lies perpetrated by Mr. Yang and Mr. Lumalabas na Mr. Ong also was evasive and that's why a contempt arrest was given to him. And Mr. Wang intervened and said he has COVID and that he will speak. And he spoke and he said finally that Mr. Yang has really been dealing with him and the corporation. Sabi niya, Mr. Yang, Michael Yang, and I quote, sabi ni Mr. Ong, guarantees for us. And also, sa pagtatanong rin natin, ay tinatanong natin, sabi niya, meron siya mga records at ipapakita niya sa darating na panahon. So ngayon, nandito tayo sa sitwasyon na ito at gusto natin pagpatuloy ang hearing lalong madaling panahon at let me just say na itong ating committee ng Blue Ribbon ay we will remain steadfast just as Invictus. Sabi nga doon sa Invictus na nire-recite namin ng bata kami, it matters now how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. We are the masters, actually plural ito, I am the master of my fate. We're using the plural. We are the masters of our fates. We are the captains of our soul. Tutuloyan namin itong investigation na ito sa kabila ng pagbabanta at mga pananakot na ginagawa ngayon. Mismo ng ating Pangulo, nakakalungkot, pero yan ang ginagawa niya at hinaharap pa ang ibang mga ahensya ng mga volunteer organizations. So, hindi na ako magpapakahaba. I would like to call now the Senate President for his preliminary remarks. Senate President.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, the chairman of the Committee on Public Accountability and Investigations. I'm just trying to rub that in to remind some people that there are three branches of government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative, the legislature. It just so happens that the Constitution says the legislature has the power of the purse. So we are doing our committee work. We are looking how the people's money is being spent. We're looking at the possibility of the PSDBM being say upgraded, updated, dissolved, or what have you. Depends on the outcome or the output of the committee. We may amend its creation. But big or small, the public have the right to know on how their money is being spent. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would not like to ask many questions today, except for one. One question, if you don't mind. And so that we are not accused or suspected of bullying, may I ask that Mr. Huang, Mr. Huang, who is in Singapore, if he is here, to give me an answer to a simple question. Mr. Wang, are you here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm present.
All right, Mr. Wang.
Mr. President, just a moment. Just for the record, Mr. Lincoln Ong, when he was being cross-examined, he said, "Can Mr. Wang make a presentation?" I said, "In due time, we will call him." And now the Senate President himself is calling Mr. Wang. Mr. Wang, please proceed.
Yes, Mr. Wang, please go ahead. Go ahead. Give the chairman your statement so that we are not accused of anything else. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Senate President, Honorable Senators. On behalf of Family Pharmaceutical Corporation, we really would like to cooperate with the hearings and the understandings of the inquiries. During the past few hearings and the past few weeks, there's been multiple concerns that were raised, and I'd really like to address several of the topics raised today. And number one, there is the concern of high price. We would like to point out that in these transactions, the capacity of our companies is only really in the role of a bidder or seller in a layman's term. The company is a business entity. What we really attempt to do as a business is to offer the best price available within the constraints of our abilities so that we can attract customers. And in this case, the customer was the government procurement entity. And what really, I would say, what really determined the price that we offer is, in a broad term, is supply and demand. When the demand for something is really high and the supply is low, then the price goes up. And when we bring this into context, during this time, during the period of these transactions, there was really a worldwide pandemic. Everyone around the world, regardless of any social standing, we are all faced with COVID-19. And sadly, during that time, the only protection that we have for anyone is masks and PPEs. So this global demand, drastic demand, really bring up the price. So of course, if we look back on those prices now, they seem exorbitant. I would agree, they seem exorbitant. But when we compare, we acknowledge that it was during the circumstances and the time frame when the transactions happened. I know many have questioned about the mask we sold, 27.72 pesos per piece. But we need to really say that those masks are sold and delivered all in the month of April 2020. That was really the height of the pandemic. And it was, the acquiring cost for us was relatively high. And so it was very difficult to address that. Of course, I really welcome the decision to only acquire from local manufacturers to support the people there. But as to our concerns, we really just offer our best price at that moment. And number two is how come a small company like us, we were able to receive billions in deals. What I would say is we started somewhere. We never denied we are small. And this is really reflected in all the documents that were submitted to us, to the procuring entity. I want to highlight that we have been compliant with any of the requirements submitted to us. If not, we've never have been awarded or even allowed to collect payments after. The whole thing is that what happened really was when there was a bid, we bidded with the best of our abilities. And when we were awarded, if and when we were awarded, we will successfully deliver diligently. And only after will we be compensated. There was really never an instant where we got a single peso or centavo to do our business from the government. And it was not one contract that got us to billion-dollar deals. We just kept trying. As I said before, I guess the we three young men were a bit too ambitious. We thought we can if we can manage the supply side, we were able to complete these deals. So we just kept trying, and then after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we just kept trying so that we will prevent ourselves from getting blacklisted. And what I guess the company always wanted to do is just make good of our obligation to deliver. I think that is really the ultimate goal and what really drives us. Because we realize that if we don't deliver, there will be very serious consequences. And then there are also talks that we are favored by the procurement entity. As I said before, we are a business. Sometimes we win the business, and sometimes really, we don't. Then they go elsewhere. We don't always win in these government bids. There's been more than 12 instances where we bidded and we didn't win. We were not awarded a bid. These are all really public records. We don't have that 100% success story. And if you really consider the amount of bids that we lost, the contract value is close to approximately 14.48 billions. Of course, what we really want to say is we don't always win, and what we do is just keep trying. And when we do win a bid, or we are awarded a bid, we just want to make good of the obligation, because we realize it's not just about winning. It's about getting these life-saving equipments critically that needed as fast as possible. So, for our perspective, that is what we do. And also, there are also questions about my personal history. I'm really open to discuss this. I mean, about things about my personal history with my previous employer, or even about my father in question. But I want to also say that the question today is about the company. The company and is different from that company in 2017. The shareholders are different. We are not a dummy. It's really me finding my good friends, people I met in the Philippines, with Mohit and Lincoln, together to start a business, because that previous one by my father and his partners are not going to push through. So I just didn't want to waste my effort. And many people can question why I use this very similar name. I guess it was a very stupid choice, because at that time I just wanted to rub off on the fact that that company was still a listed company. You want to rub off on the fact that even the VP in that sense. So I really regret that. But the Family Pharmaceutical Corporation and Family Biological is really completely different company. I need to say that on record. And regarding the statement I made previously about our relationship with Mr. Michael Young, I'm not here to defend Mr. Michael Young. He really does not know about my involvement with Family Pharmaceutical Corporation, because I was scared to go to him, because when your father made a promise to do something and he left you in charge to do it, and then somehow that doesn't happen, it's just very embarrassing to go up to someone and try to ask for help. But when we were awarded the contract, we really want to make good and deliver. So after, even despite my reluctance, I think we asked Lincoln to approach Mr. Michael Young in his personal capacity. So I don't know, maybe that's why he said he doesn't know about a company, but he definitely knows about that. He's helping Mr. Lincoln for the contract in question. So I don't want to defend him, but the truth is he doesn't know about my personal involvement in this, or whether he knows about it's a company that is. So what we want to say is that the company is a small startup. We are not affiliated with any government agencies or other private agencies. The shareholders and the corporate officers of the company are true and honest. And No, I believe, I don't know, I believe what we won, I hope that we won the contracts by way of merit, by the price we offer, by the time of delivery schedule that we can offer. No, I don't think really we won it through any form of connections. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to this committee.
All right. So is that all, Mr. Wong? In that case, I leave it to you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I was hoping that they would cooperate as obviously they're still sticking to their story in spite of the fact that there have been prejudiced statements that have been made here in open false testimony. With the permission of everyone, so just we know where we left off. This Mr. Lincoln Ong under cross-examination by Senator Lacson, Senator Dillon, and myself, as well as Senator Ontiveros and Senator Pangilinan. I would like to ask a question of Lincoln Ong right now. Kung papayagan nyo. Mr. Ong?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good morning po.
How are you today? Magaling ka na?
I think I'm okay naman po. Mild lang po. Medyo mahirapan lang huminga.
Sige. Nasa 95 ka naman, no? 97?
Okay. Oh, yes. Hindi ko po ba na-check eh. Kasi second COVID ko na po ito. I think I can get through this.
Sanay ka na. May bakuna ka na, di ba?
Opo, salamat po sa ating gobyerno na nakapag-vaccine po kami.
Tama. Okay, now, nung negotiated bill ito, di ba? Sino ang kausap mo? Sino nakipag-usap kay Mr. Lau?
Mr. Chair, nung panahon ng PPE na to, tumatanggap na lang kami ng RFQ and then sumasagot na lang kami. Hindi na kami pupunta doon kasi delikado na rin doon eh.
Ano? Tumatanggap lang kayo ng sulat?
Kasi everything will be on RFQ. Nagsisend po sila ng RFQ. Request for quotation.
RFQ? Request for?
For quotation po, yes po.
Quotation? Do you have that letter?
Yes po. Yes po.
Can you submit it to the committee? Yung unang letter, lahat ng letter na pinadala sa iyo?
Sige po, isabit po namin ng RFQ agad.
Tanggap?
Yung sa admin po namin sa office.
Bakit? Ba't alam mo? Ikaw ba may question?
Hindi po, once na nakatanggap po kami ng RFQ, edi as a team we have to act on it, discuss on it, and then decide on it po.
So ano natanggap niya? Ano sinabi?
Sir, I have it's really an RFQ. Meron pa siyang format eh. Ano pa yung text specs?
Ano ang offer? Ano request sa inyo?
Request po sa ano? Request po sa ano? Every
particular
to a project.
You're still evasive, ha?
Ano po?
You're still very evasive. Anong request sa inyo? Mag-supply kayo.
Sorry po. Yes po. Mag-offer po kami. Magsagot po kami sa RFQ. Yes po.
Sinagot mo? Ikaw sumagot?
Yes po. Sinagot po ng kumpanya.
Hindi, ikaw tinanong ko eh. Sinagot mo?
Opo.
Ikaw sumagot?
It's a company action po.
Tinanong ko, ikaw ba ang sumagot? Hindi kita binubuli ha. Sabihin mo, binubuli ko kayo.
Opo.
Sagutin mo lang yung tanong. Huwag niyong pinapaandaran kami.
Hindi po ako po yung sumagot.
Sino sumagot kung hindi ikaw? Sinasabi mo hindi ikaw sumagot.
Yung admin email po namin.
Sino yun?
Actually si Crizel Mago yata eh. Siya po kasi nag-handle nun.
Andiyan si Miss Mago, di ba?
Yes po.
Miss Mago, ikaw ba sumagot? Sulat?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Morning po.
RFQ po ng PSDBM, I was the one who answered po the email.
Email.
Yes po, Your Honor.
Ano sinabi sa email? Magbigay kayo ng offer.
Po, yung pinakaunang email ng PSDBM, it says here, request for proposal. We kindly request for a price proposal for supply and delivery of surgical masks for the procurement service. Details are in the RFQ attached to this email po. And then let me also read
What's the date?
The date of the email po, Your Honor, is on March 25, 2020.
March
25, 2020 po.
March 5, 2020. March 25.
Yes po.
Tapos, ano sinagot nyo?
Dito po sa RFQ ng PSB.
Excuse me lang, ha?
Yes po.
Mabilis lang tayo, mabilis lang, ha? Sino ang sumula? Sino nakapirma?
Ang nakapirma po is Attorney Michelle Ann Recto.
Ano?
Attorney Michelle Ann B. Recto.
Michelle Ann D.
Recto.
Recto. Alright? Tapos, sinagot mo.
Yes po, Your Honor. Dito po sa RFQ, there are 5 lots na ibibid po. These are all surgical masks and we only joined lot 5 po for 500,000 pieces of surgical mask.
500,000.
Yes po, Your Honor.
Magkano yun?
The unit price is 28 pesos and then approved budget for the contract is 8 million pesos po, Your Honor.
Again?
For the lot 5 na we joined po, quantity is 500,000 pieces, unit price is 28 pesos, and then the approved budget for the contract is 8 million pesos po, Mr. Chairman.
Director General, can you get a copy of that email, please? We are at a disadvantage.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. We'll ask
Right
him.
now, can you send it right now, please?
Yes, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Sige po.
May computer ka dyan, di ba?
Yes po.
Deliver ka may dokumento, di ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Padala mo kagad sa Blue Ribbon.
Okay, Your Honor. Eto po, sisend ko na po.
Alam mo address namin?
I have the email address po.
Okay, sige. So, 8 million muna. Yan ang una-una, 8 million.
Yes po, Your Honor.
8 million pesos worth?
Yun po yung approved budget for the contract. That's the ceiling budget po for the contract, Your Honor.
Paano mo nalaman? Yun ang sinabi sa inyo.
Yes po, ito po yung laman ng RFQ mismo, Mr. Chairman.
8 million pesos. Alright?
Yes.
So, pagkatapos nag-supply na agad kayo, pinayagan kayo.
Nag-respond po kami with the
Sino nag-respond?
ako po, through email po, Mr. Chairman.
Email. Padala mo na yan. Yung email na yan.
Yes po.
Sige, anong respond yun?
After namin na nag-respond ako March 26, Your Honor.
Walang usapan yan, parang email lang. Ha?
Yes po. Puro email po, Your Honor.
Puro email. Wow. Sige, go ahead.
And then on April 6, 2020, I received an email po for the notice of award for the lot 5 surgical mask.
Excuse me, sandali. Sino kausap mo muna yan? Pinadala mo yung email. Kanino mo pinadala?
Let me check po. Pinadala ko po yung email sa pd8@ps-philjeps.gov.ph.
Attention who?
Attention to Mr. Patrick Dave Magpantay.
Patrick who?
Patrick Dave Magpantay po, Mr. Chairman.
Patrick Magpantay.
Yes po.
Okay. Anong pinadala mo? You're going to abide by the order. You will fill in the order.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
500,000.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
All right? And you said, okay, we'll supply it at that price.
Yes po.
Anong unit cost?
Ang unit cost namin at that time is 27.72 pesos po.
27?
0.72 pesos.
27.72.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
27.72 pesos, all right?
Okay, so pinadala nyo na yan agad.
Opo, Mr. Chairman.
Sumagot po na sila, di ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Ano yung sinagot? Sige, padala nyo na. Ganun ba?
Dito po kasi sa RFQ, Mr. Chairman, meron po ditong deadline kung kailan isasubmit po yung RFQ. The deadline is on March 26, 2020. And then I replied on the same day po, March 26, 2020.
Anong deadline? March?
26 po.
Ganun lang kasimple.
Mr. Chairman, I believe this is the procedure of the PSDBM for negotiated or emergency procurement. But please allow someone from the PSDBM to verify my statement po.
Don't do that. Don't tell me what to do right now because I'm asking you a question. Ganun lang kasimple.
Yes po, I'm only...
Padala na kayo kagad. Paano kayo binayaran?
I'm only explaining based on the timeline or the timetable of all our projects or contracts with the PSDBM po, Mr. Chairman.
Ito you're explaining. Paano kayo binayaran? Sa una palang order na yan.
Opo, so we delivered on time kasi on our...
on time? Kailan on time?
We delivered po on March 25, 2020 based on my records po.
March 25, sabay? Na-deliver nyo na kagad?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Meron kayo sa bodega nyo ng ganong karami?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Saan nyo dineliver?
We delivered to the warehouse of PSDBM at Paco, Manila po.
Okay. And then?
And then after that, nagkaroon po ng inspection with the inspectors of the PSDBM. So, satisfactorily nakapasa naman po yung mga items na pinasa namin, dineliver namin.
Ano ka ba ng inspection?
Nagkaroon po ng visual inspection po.
Visual?
Yes po, Your Honor. Based on the technical specifications.
Sino nag-inspection?
Our inspector at that time is Ma'am Nora. Ma'am Nora po.
Pakibukas mo lang bibig mo pag nagsasalita ka dahil kinakain mo yung salita mo. Anong pangalan ng inspector?
Our inspector at that time po is Ma'am Nora, Your Honor.
Ma'am?
Nora.
Nora
Salvador.
Salvador?
Yes po, Your Honor.
O pumasa. So binayaran kayo?
After the inspection po, Your Honor, ang procedure po is we submit the import document.
Procedure. I said binayaran kayo. Kailan kayo binayaran?
Let me check po kung kailan kami binayaran, Your Honor.
How long have you been in this company?
I've been
with
them since
ka
the start.
Kinakain mo yung salita mo. Anong pangalan?
Po, Your Honor.
Ano?
Since incorporation date po, September 2, 2019.
September 2, 2019. Diyan ka na?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
So just a quick clarification, just a very quick clarification. They received the email with the permission of the chair. They received the email March 25 and they delivered also on March 25. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what she said.
So same day delivery, walang negotiation, walang pag-uusap, email lang. Tama ba yun?
Order ka ng sandwich, deliver ka agad.
On the same day?
On the same day. I hope you know what you're doing, young lady. So yun ang sinabi mo, ha? Para
Yes,
sandwich, bigyan mo ako. Sige, padalang kita ng babayaran kita, ito, 500,000. Pinadala mo kagad, right? Di ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Sino sinabihan mo magpadala sa inyo?
I was only heeding to the instructions of our management po.
Yun ang instructor mo sa management.
Lincoln Ong seems to want to add something, Mr. Chairman.
Just a moment. I'm on one here. Ang instructor mo si Lincoln Ong. Yun ang sinasabi mo.
Yes po, and Mr. Mohit Nargani.
Mojit Bargani. Alright? Sila nagsabi sa'yo, i-deliver mo kagad.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Alright? I'll get to them. Parang grab delivery lang, ano? Napakasimple. Yes? Hindi ka ba nagugulat? O, sige, tuloy natin. Tapos nag-order na naman.
Going back to your question earlier, Mr. Chairman, our collection was on April 15 for this project po.
April?
15, 2020 po.
Ano yun? Ano yung April 15?
That was the collection po. Doon po kami binayaran ng procurement service.
Yung 500,000 na dineliver nyo, nakakalaga magkano?
27.
8 billion pesos, binayaran na kayo on April 15. Ganun ba?
Mr. Chairman, just to correct po, ang total contract amount for the 500,000 pieces is 13,860,000 pesos po.
Naging 13 million na.
Yes po.
Naging 13 million na.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Can you share your screen with us? You know, lamang na lamang kayo rito eh. Nagbabasa ka nung script ninyo eh.
Hindi po ako makapag-share ng screen, Mr. Chairman. Wait lang.
Director General, nakuha mo na ba yung kanyang pinadala?
Hintay pa po namin. Wala pa pong pumapasok as of right now.
Wait lang. Sige po, email ko na po.
Hindi mo pa ini-email. Ano ba? Okay, while you're doing that, sabi mo April 16 ka binayaran. Ano ba? April 15?
April 15 po, Your Honor.
Ang binayad sa'yo 13 million, right? Sanabi mo?
Ang binayad po sa amin exactly is 12,978,000.
O kanina 13 million, ngayon 12 million.
Yes, Your Honor, because ito na po yung na-deduct po yung mga deductions ng PSDBM like the with EWT, FMAT, and then the 1% warranty po.
Anong dineduct? Tandaan ka lang. Sige.
Apo, ang dineduct po dito, Your Honor, is 1% EWT, 5% FVAT, and 1% warranty retention.
May VAT kayo?
Yes po, Your Honor.
May VAT? Di ba walang VAT yan?
Mr. Chairman, for the 500,000 pieces po na surgical mask, this was locally purchased po, not imported.
Yes, Senator Dela?
Just one question with your permission, Mr. Chair. The resource person said that they received and answered the email on March 25, 2020, to my recollection.
Same day.
Huh?
Same day.
Sorry? Yes. They delivered the merchandise when? Also on March 25.
Same day.
Same day.
Parang grab nga eh. Parang grab at saka sandwich.
Same day. Question. This is 500,000 pieces of surgical mask. Tama po ba yun?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Question. Nasa inventaryo nyo ba ito? May inventaryo ba kayo? Hindi maliit ito ha? 500,000 surgical mask. Nasa inventaryo nyo ba ito na i-deliver nyo on the same day?
Sabi niya meron.
Nasa inventaryo ba ng kumpanya nyo?
Mr. Chairman,
inventory.
ito po yung isa sa mga na-explain ni Mr. Lincoln Ong before regarding the statement that we have access to supplies po.
No, pakisagot lang po ng tanong ko. Sabi mo, natanggap niyo yung request for quotation on March 25, 2020. On the same day, you answered the request for quotation, and on the same day, you supplied 500 pieces of surgical masks, which cost 20 pesos per piece. Question, did you have this in your inventory that you were able to deliver 500,000 on the same day?
Mr. Chairman, at that day, we don't have the stocks on our inventory, but Mr. Lincoln Ong was able to negotiate with the supplier po.
Just a moment.
Go ahead.
Then you were lying kanina. Sabi mo, pinadeliver mo kagad, right?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman, with the instructions of Mr. Lincoln Ong because he...
I didn't ask you whose instruction. Sabi mo, pinadala ka ng email, sinagot mo, at pinadeliver mo kagad. Tinanong kita, nando ba sa inventaryo? Meron. Ngayon, binabago mo ang sagot mo under the instructions of Lincoln Ong. Alam ko na sasabihin mo. Dahil narinig ko yung sinabi ni Lincoln Ong, meron kayong mga kaibigan na nag-supply sa inyo. Yung ba sasabihin mo?
Mr. Chairman, supply chain manager...
Oo, yung mga tao dyan, yung mga naiipit.
Can you please, Mr. Justin Vincent, turn off your go ahead. Sagutin mo.
Apo. Mr. Chairman, our supply chain manager is Mr. Lincoln Ong. And then when he instructed me to deliver the stocks that day, I only heeded to his instructions po.
I know. Sabi mo may inventaryo kayo. Sige, pinadala mo kagad. Tapos ngayon, binabago mo kanina yung sagot mo na merong ginawa si Lincoln Ong na nakakuha siya sa ibang supplier niya. Tama?
Yun po talaga yun, Mr. Chairman.
Sabi mo yung tanong ko. Dali na sinabi mo, si Lincoln Ong, meron siyang contact na makukuha nyo kagad yung 500,000. Kaya na i-deliver nyo kagad. Yun ang sinabi mo.
Yes po, tama po yun, Mr. Chairman.
Tama. Alright? Sino yung contact na yun? Mahirap sinungali malilisat-lisat ka dyan.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman, with regards to sa supplier ni Mr. Lincoln Ong, I have no access po.
Wow, ang bilis yung talaga. Super bilis kayo, hindi mo alam. Bigla na lang, sinabi mo kay Lincoln Ong, kailan mo sinabi kay Lincoln Ong na mayroon kailang request for quotation?
That same meeting po, Mr. Chairman. That same meeting po, Mr. Chairman, kasi we work as a team po for the meetings po.
So you're telling us na that same day na deliver nyo, dumaan ka pa kay Mr. Ong, sinabi mo ba kay Mr. Ong, may order dito. Sabi mo kanina, meron kayo sa inventory. Nung tinanong ka na, dumaan ka ngayon kay Ong. Masasabihin ngayon ni Ong, maghahanap ako. Yun ang pinalalabas mo, di ba?
It's like
It doesn't suit you.
It's like this, Mr. Chairman. So when I received the RFQ from the PSDBM, I already informed the whole team po. So kami po lahat yung nag-discuss regarding dun sa response namin dun sa RFQ. That's why lahat po kami aware of the RFQ. And then Mr. Lincoln Ong confirmed na meron po kaming supplier na makukuhanan.
Lahat kayo, ikaw ang tumanggap ng email, lahat kayo alam na kagad ang order.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman, because we have a group chat po and dun po kami nagsisend ng mga...
May group chat naman ngayon. Sige, tuloy mo. Go ahead, Franz. You're done.
Pakiulit lang po, mayroon pa kang inventaryo na 500,000 face surgical mask?
No? Senator Lacson, go ahead. Go ahead,
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Very quickly for clarification lang. Ang sabi kasi nung resource person ngayon, April 15, nakakolekta sila. Sa presentation niyo po, Mr. Chairman, ang PO na lumabas, April 16. So, paano nakakolekta ng April 15 kung ang PO for 500,000 pieces between 2772? April 16, as per COA report. Nauna yung collection kesa sa PO. I just want to be clarified doon sa testimony ni Ms. Nora. Kung April 15 sinabi niya, yung pagkarinig ng mga namin dito, April 15, nakakolekta na sila. Nauna pa yung collection sa PO. Not even delivery PO lang ito, Mr. Chairman. I just want to be clarified on that. Thank you.
What is your answer?
Mr. Chairman, based on our records po, the purchase order is dated April 6, 2020 po.
Ang purchase order is April 6 pero nakakolekta kayo kagad. Nag-order ng March 25 sa'yo, dineliver mo kagad. Tapos biglang lumabas ang April 6 ang purchase order.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Binayaran kayo ng April 15.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Talaga super efficient, no?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Action.
I'm relying on your presentation, quoting the COA report, that the PO for the 500,000 pieces, this is as per COA, amounting to 27 or 27.72 per piece, April 16. So I'm wondering how they were able to collect the day before the piece.
Ito nga, Paso.
Evidence, Mr. Chairman.
Will you please tell us the truth, young lady?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Let me email you a copy of the purchase order which was dated April 6, 2020 po.
Kanina ko pinang-order sa'yo, padala mo lahat yan eh.
Yes po, nakapag-email ako initially nung documents regarding the RFQ po, Your Honor.
While you're doing that, let me ask you a question again. When was your next order?
The next order po, let me check lang po. For the 2,400,000 pieces of surgical mask po, the request for offer was emailed on April 13, 2020 po.
April 13.
Yes po. And then we responded.
2.4 million quantity?
Yes po, Your Honor. And then on April 14, 2020, Mr. Dargani responded to the request for offer po. So from here onwards, it was Mr. Dargani who was designated as our authorized representative for the contracts with the PSDBM.
These are members of the board, right? Lincoln is a member of the board.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Dargani is a member of the board.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Is it the practice of this corporation na, di ba, ang board, gumagawa lang ng policy yan, tapos kayo nakikialam na yung board member doon sa mga pagwala ng order? Is that what you want to have us believe? Ano? Ganun ba talaga ang policy nyo, ha? I hope you realize, pagka nag-perjure ka o kaya nagsinungaling ka rito, malaking kasalanan yan. Ha? Hindi kita tinatakot, hindi kita binubuli. I'm just trying to find out, hindi ka panipaniwala yung sinasabi mo na nag-order ng March 25, delivered nyo on March 25, tapos on April 6, sabi mo ngayon, bigla mong babawi, sabi mo, wala pala kami sa kwan, sabi mo, nasa bodega. Yung pala, wala pala sa bodega. Super Lincoln comes in, Abraham Lincoln comes in and says, bibigyan ka namin ng kaibigan ko, meron, di ba? Nasalain mo?
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify po.
No. It's very clear to me. Anong ka-clarify mo pa dyan? Yun ang sinabi mo.
Opo, wala po kaming inventory sa aming warehouse.
Wala na kayong inventory. Kanina sinabi mo may inventory kayo.
Ang supplies po ay nanggaling sa supplier ni Mr. Lincoln Mr. Chairman.
Pero dinala yung supplier ng Mr. Ong. Lalabas at lalabas yan eh. Hindi kayo makakapagsinungaling dito. Ang sabi mo kanina, meron kayong inventory. Tinanong ka namin ni Mr. Ong. Tayo biglang to the rescue. Mr. Ong, meron tayo rito. Ngayon, wala talaga kayong inventory. Correct?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Yan sinasabi mo, may tama yan, ha?
Opo. So,
para mamalaya mo na, bago bumili dapat, ang PSDBM, dapat aalamin nila kung kayo ay may kakayahan mag-supply. Kung kayo ay may kakayahan sa pera na mag-supply. Kayo ay may technical capability na mag-supply. Ngayon ang sinasabi mo, wala kayong kakayahan. Then, binigyan lang kayo ng request for quotation, bigla na lang, sabi mo kanina, meron kayong inventory. Ngayon, sabi mo, wala kayong inventory. Sa pagitan niya, sinabi mo,
Sabi kasi ni Mr. Ong, katulad ng sinabi niya ng isang araw, na nanghiram siya sa ibang supplier. Sabagat hindi kayo sinek ng PSDBM kung kayo ay may supply. Tama? Tama po ba, ma'am?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Hindi kayo tinanong. Katulad ng pagtanong ko, meron kayo inventory. Sabi mo, meron. Tinanong ka rin ni Senator Dinon, meron kayo inventory. Tapos kayo, wala na biglang inventory. Sabi mo kagad, ang tapang mo pa kanina, dineliver namin on the same day. Wow! Paano yung madi-deliver yun kung wala kayong inventory? You better think about what you're doing, young lady. Paralim ka ng paralim, ha? Dalawa na ang nahuli natin ang sisinungaling dito. Ikaw ba, ikatlo?
No, Mr. Chairman. I'm only
You're actually telling us what your people told you to say today. May nagturo ba sa'yo kung ano sasabihin mo ngayon?
Wala po, Mr. Chairman.
Wala. O, so, mali-mali na yung sinasabi mo kung gano'n. Sige, panindigan mo. Now, okay, bisan kita. The next order was April 13. Tanongin kita. State explicitly the PO number of the 8 million contract. Anong number ng PO number nun?
PO number for the 500,000 surgical mask, Your Honor, is PO 20 00176-CSE.
00181, ganun ba?
Let me repeat, Your Honor. It's PO 20 00176 CSE.
CSP.
E po.
SP.
E as in echo. E.
Sigurado kaya?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman. I have the record with me po.
Alright. Magkano binayad sa'yo sa purchase order? Ang sabi mo, 8 million. Ngayon, ang sabi mo, ang binayad sa'yo ay magkano?
The total contract amount, Your Honor, is 13,860,000 pesos.
So, nagbago from 8 million, naging 13 million.
Yes po, Your Honor, because the quantity is 500,000 pieces and then the unit price is 27.72 pesos.
Wow! 37.72. So, yung 8 million, naging 13 million. Hindi umangal yung PSDB. Ba't yung tinaas ang presyo nyo? Tinanong namin kayo, meron ba kayong 500,000 at ang presyo na binigay sa inyo ay lumalabas na 22.15. Di ba totoo yan? Ano, 27.72?
Opo, Mr. Chairman.
27.72?
Yes po.
So, nabago yun. Imbis na 8 million, naging yung 500,000, naging 13.86 million.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
Mr.
Sir
Chairman,
Lacson.
just help out. Ito yung PO date, April 16, 2020, referring to PO number PO 0 o PO 20 0-00176 for
Yes.
2772. Ito yung 500,000 pieces.
Right.
Ang cost man. So, yun ang gusto natin clarify. Dito ba sila nakakolekta ng April 15, ang PO April 16? This is the COA report, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
We listed in this from the COA report itself.
Mr. Chairman, as earlier stated, the PO date based on our records is April 6, 2020 po, and it is correct that we collected on April 15 with the amount of 12,978,000 pesos.
And this is in reference doon sa 500,000 pieces ng cost 2772. Correct?
Yes, correct po, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, ang COA report, ito official ito, COA report. I don't know, baka nagkamali ang COA. April 16 yung date eh. May PO number nga dito eh.
Nakikita mo, di ba?
We're showing it. That's another Dulong. Ayan, COA report. 2772, 500,000. Pero ang sabi mo, nung umpisa, meron kayong stock, tapos biglang nawala ng stock, tapos nagbago ang presyo. Dati, ang presyo ay malabas ay 2772, naging 8 million, naging 13 million at ang total na binayad sa inyo ay 12 million plus 936,000.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Oh,
Based on our records, Mr. Chairman.
Tuwan-tuwa kayo dahil binayaran pa kayo mas malaki. Ang unang request for quotation ay 8 million, naging 13 million. Tama?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman. I also find fault in the RFQ, which was earlier sent because the quantity is 500,000 pieces. The unit price is 28 pesos. However, the or 500,000 times 28 pesos po.
Madali yan.
Okay, sige. I'll go to the next question. Kailan kayo uli nag-order? Oh, yes, Senator Dillon.
Yes, just it's really confusing, Mr. Chairman. If I may just summarize for the record, para po maintindihan ng taong bayan kung bakit tayo nag-iimbestiga. Sang-ayon po sa ating resource person, natanggap nila yung request for quotation or RFQ noong Marso 25, 2020. Ngayon, ang sabi nila, agad dineliver nila on the same day. At dineliver nila ang 500,000 surgical mask. Hindi ko maintindihan kung may inventory o hindi. Papalit-palit po yung sagot. Ngunit ang sinasabi na naman ngayon na binayaran yung purchase order nila April 16, 2020. Ang ibig sabihin, nag-deliver sila, wala ng purchase order, which is so unusual. Hindi po ba? Purchase order, April 16, 2020. At binayaran na lang sila, I don't know when, kung kailan sila binayaran, ngunit wala silang inventaryo noong dineliver nila. Talaga pong mahirap talaga pag na may tinatakpan po kayo, ma'am, nakakabuhol-buhol yung inyong testimony. Kaya it is not usual. Kalaki ng mga perang ito, 12, 13 milyon. Wala kayong inventaryo. Nakakuha kayo ng, hindi ko alam kung saan yung kinuha yung dineliver. Ngunit wala kayong purchase order nung dineliver nyo ito. At noong purchase order nyo, April 16, or 3 weeks after the delivery of the merchandise. Tama po ba yun?
Just very quickly. Can you just let her answer first? Yes, it's just that the delivery date is April 6, not April 16.
I'm looking at the purchase order here.
Yes.
Purchase order is April 16.
Oh, well, I have another one that says April 6. So,
when is the purchase order and when is the delivery? Pakiniwanag mo nga, ma'am. Kasi, kaya mo namin pinipilit ito, this could be indicative of the way your company was favored by PSDBM on the delivery of this. Now we are even having doubts as to whether this was delivered. Pakisagot niyo muna ng tanong namin. Ano ba talaga ang totoo rito?
Okay, Your Honor, let me just state the facts that I have based on my records po. So we received the RFQ on March 25, 2020, and it is correct that we delivered the 500,000 pieces surgical masks on the same day po, March 25, 2020.
Okay.
These actions were executed based on the instructions of our management po, Your Honor.
Okay, so may inventaryo kayo noong March 25, 2020.
Mr. Chairman, let me clarify po. At that day, we don't have the stocks at our warehouse, but Mr. Lincoln Ong has already negotiated with a supplier who can deliver at the same day po.
Okay. So, walang delivery nung araw na yun.
Nag-deliver po kami on March 25, 2020, Your Honor.
I'm almost giving up, Mr. Chairman.
We're the same boat. But I'd like to go
Tapos,
faster, if I may. Senator Dillon, pakinggan natin ang mga sagot nito.
minsan lang, sir. Minsan na lang. Oh, pagkatapos, kailan po ang purchase order lumabas?
Mr. Chairman, based on our records po, the purchase order is dated April 6, 2020.
April?
6 po, 2020.
April 6. Isang ayon po sa COA, April 16. Mali ba yung COA?
I'm only stating facts based on our records, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, where did you get your inventory?
With regards to the inventory, Mr. Chairman, our supply chain manager, Mr. Lincoln Ong, is in charge of the supplies po.
Again?
Our supply chain, Mr. Lincoln Ong, is in charge of the supplies po, Mr. Chairman, and as earlier stated po, he has already negotiated with a supplier po, with a local supplier.
May bodega ba kayo? May warehouse ba kayo?
Yun.
Mr. Chairman, we have a contracted third-party warehouse po.
Saan ito?
This is located in Parañaque, Mr. Chairman.
May warehouse kayo doon. Doon galing yung inyong inventory na 500,000 surgical mask?
For the 500,000 surgical mask, Your Honor, it was from the local supplier na kausap po ni Mr. Lincoln Ong. But this supplier, I have no information po.
Ayan.
Information.
Senator Gordon, I give up. Ikaw na lang. Hindi ko maintindihan.
Ano ba tinitignan mo? Laptop, Iha?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman. I'm referring to...
Pakita mo sa amin.
Hindi ko po. Wait lang, let me check how to, ano po.
Hindi ko alam kung may nagdidikta sa'yo, kaya nalilito ka. Kami tuloy nalilito. Di ba nauna mo na yung purchase order bago ko bumili? Ito, request for quotation lang, nag-deliver na kayo kagad. Di ba sabi sa'yo, anong quotation nyo? Sumagot ka on the same day. Sabi mo, 8 million, ang babayaran nyo sa amin. Di ba? Yun ang request for quotation, di ba?
Yes.
Tapos magiging purchase order, di namin malabang ngayon kung April 6 or April 16. Sabi ng COA, April 16. Sabi mo, April 6. Tapos binayaran ka, naging 13 million na. Ano yan? Tapos bigla kayo nagkaroon ng bodega. Sabi mo kanina, ang sinungaling mo, meron kaming stock sa bodega namin. Tapos bigla naman, wala kaming stock. Tapos to the rescue, Lincoln Ong. So, I don't think I should carry with this witness. Let me move to another witness, if I may.
Mr. Chair.
I would like to entertain a motion to declare this woman in contempt.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Before we act on the motion of the chairman, may I ask one last question to Mr. Chairman, to this witness, just to complete the story about the delivery. If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Mago, kumpleto naman ba yung documentation ninyo sa sinasabi yung deliveries? 4 po yung basic na dokumento na kailangan kung may delivery talaga nangyari. May delivery order po ba kayo? Yes or no lang po?
We have a delivery receipt po, Your Honor.
No, do you have, ang dokumento kailangan ay delivery order. May delivery order po ba kayo?
Based
o wala?
on that I have, wala po, Your Honor.
Wala. Okay. Pangalawa, may delivery receipt kayo, sabi nyo.
Meron po, Your Honor.
Okay, so pero may delivery receipt, pero wala yung dapat na unang delivery order. So butas na. Pangatlo po, meron ba kayong inspection and acceptance report para sa delivery?
Meron po, Your Honor.
Meron. Huli, meron ba kayong statement of account na nandyan yung delivery na iyan?
Meron po, Your Honor.
Meron. Pero just for the record, Mr. Chairman, meron yung second, third, and fourth documents. Pero yung unang-una, which should have started and properly documented this whole chain of supposed delivery, yung delivery order, ay wala po, Mr. Chairman. Salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
One more chance, ha? Ang sabi mo, March 25 ka nakakuha ng email. Tama?
Yes po, Your Honor.
Pagkatapos, sinagot mo kaagad. Tama?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
At deliver niyo on the same day. Tama?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
At ang sabi mo, meron kayong stock sa bodega. Tama?
Wala po kami sa bodega, Mr. Chairman.
Mapakain ko sa iyo yung sinabi mo. Tapos bigla, doon tinanong ka na ni Senator dito, wala kayong stock. Galing sa ibang tao yan. Alright? Alright?
Galing po sa ibang supplier yung stock
Ibang supplier na hindi mo alam kung sino.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
So bigla nagkaroon ng supplier na hindi mo alam kung sino. Alam mo yung kanta, sino ka ba? Di ba? Tatanungin kita ngayon. Nakuha mo yung email ng anong oras?
Let me check lang po, Mr. Chairman.
I will tell you, ito yung email mo. Nakalagay dyan, 2:24 p.m.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman. 2:24 p.m.
2:24 p.m. Tapos, anong oras mo deliver?
Let me check lang po, Mr. Chairman.
Anong oras mo deliver?
I'm checking po, Mr. Chairman.
Hindi ba ito? Ano yan? Mahirap kasi pagsunod kayo na sunod sa mga sinungaling. Pati kayo mahahawahan.
So, I'm checking the photos, Mr. Chairman, delivery photos that I took that day, March 25, 2020. We opened the first wing van at around 5:19 p.m. po.
Ang totoo niyan, padala mo nga sa akin yung sinasabi mo, ang totoo niyan, papakita ko sa itong pinadala mo sa akin, ha? Lugi-lugi kami, pinapadala niyo sa amin ito lang. Ito nakalagay, ha? Supply and delivery of surgical masks for the procurement service. Ayan, ha? Good day. In response to the request for quotation attached here with are the following documents. Annex A, price proposal form, schedule of requirements. Kindly acknowledge receipt of this email. Ito ang sagot mo. Alam mo kung anong oras mo sinagot? March 26, 1:19 p.m. Aray. Tingnan mo yung pinatalo mo. Ayan mo.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Sa nagsisinungaling ka, nung sinabi mo, sinagot mo on the same day, at nagsisinungaling ka rin nung deliver mo on March 25.
No, Mr. Chairman. I already...
Ano na yun?
Binasa ko po kanina, Mr. Chairman, that I received the email on March 25, 2020, and then that I responded to the RFQ at March 26, 2020.
Ang sinabi mo, you responded, wala ka sinasabing date, ako lang nagsabi ng date. Ang sinabi mo, sumagot kayo kaagad at dineliver nyo on March 25. Sino ba naman ang sira ulo na tatanggap ng request for quotation na magdi-deliver kaagad? Di ba? Yeah, magaling ka naman, mukhang magaling ka eh. Pero yung ba gusto mong paniwalaan namin na ang lalaki nitong amount na ito, 8 million ito, tapos biglang nag-magic, naging 13 million na. At tapos ang nakalagay ito, ang sagot mo, March 26. Pero dineliver nyo on the same day, March 25. Tapos pumayag kayo, nabayaran kayo, on what date na? Nagbayad kayo April 15. Imbes na 8 million, naging 13 million. Kung boss mo, you're fired. Okay, I think we've already said our point here. Yes, Senator Dillon.
Ilang boxes ba itong 500,000 face mask? Ilang boxes?
It doesn't say on our delivery receipt po, Mr. Chairman, kasi naka-pieces po yung nakalagay dito sa aming delivery receipt.
Pero siguro marami ito kasi 500,000 eh. Ang laki nito, hindi mo alam kung ilang boxes ang laman ng isang box o ng order.
Mr. Chairman, I was only
Okay.
on our delivery receipt po.
Saan ba dineliver ito?
Sa warehouse po ng procurement service sa Paco, Manila.
Ano?
Sa warehouse po ng PSDBM, Your Honor, sa Cristobal Street, Paco, Manila.
Okay. Mayroon sigurong na delivery receipt na pinunuhan?
Meron po, Your Honor.
Nasaan yan?
I have a copy of the DR din po, Your Honor.
Kailan natanggap yan? Kailan ang pirma?
This was received March 25 din po, Your Honor.
March 20. Senator Gordon, I give it back to you. Ngayon sa March 25, ang purchase order ay ang tech ay ang email ay mga 2-something. 221 ba yun? No? It's all confusing, Mr. Chairman. Ang suspetsa ko rito, sir, ito ay ghost delivery.
Possible. That's what I'm heading. That's where we're headed.
Mr.
Because, excuse me, Senator.
Yes,
Can
Mr.
you give us a copy of the contract on that mysterious bodega ninyo sa Parañaque?
Mr. Chairman, our warehouse po na nabanggit ko kanina sa Parañaque is only for the testing kits po, Mr. Chairman.
Panibago na naman ito. Testing kits lang yon.
Yes po, Mr.
Kasi sinabi na doon dineliver nung mysterious na nag-deliver na nag-deliver kay Lincoln. Naku Lincoln, pinaligiran ka na ng lubid ng kasalanan dito, ang kasinungalingan dito. Ang ibig sabihin, doon dineliver, pero sinasabi mo na naman ngayon, yun ay para sa testing kits, correct?
Hindi ko po nabanggit, Mr. Chairman, na doon dineliver yung stocks from the supplier ni Mr. Lincoln Ong. What I just mentioned, nung tinanong niyo po ako kung meron kaming warehouse, I mentioned na meron po kaming third-party warehouse, but that is for our testing kits po.
No, wala ka sinabi gano'n. Anong tanong sa iyo? Hindi ako. Anong tanong sa iyo si Senator Drilon? Sinabi sa iyo, may bodega kayo, sinabi mo, ito yung bodega namin. Natatanong ko, nasaan yung kontrata? Padala nyo sa amin yung kontrata para talagang kasi ko talagang wala kayong dineliver doon. Napakabilis naman. Pinaninindigan mo, dineliver mo on the same day. Sino ba sila ulo na wala kang purchase request? Ano kaya mangyayari kung halimbawa nag-deliver ka tapos, ba't kayo nag-deliver? Wala pa kayong PR?
Yes.
Ano ba yung sinasabi ko?
Yes, I understand.
Ano kayo bayaran? Wala namang purchase request pa. Wala namang purchase order Yes, I'll go ahead.
So, yung inventaryo nasa Parañaque ba kamo? Saan ang inventaryo niyo?
No po, Mr. Chairman. At that time, wala pa po kaming warehouse dito sa contract na ito po. And then, yung supplier po ni Mr. Lincoln delivered from their warehouse to PSDBM po.
Alright, saan yung warehouse ng supplier ni Mr. Ong?
Hindi ko po kasi nakausap yung supplier ni Mr. Ong. I was only stationed sa procurement service po during delivery.
Mayroon pa kayong binayaran na transport cost of the 500,000 surgical mask?
Mr. Chairman, at that time po, ang responsibility lang po na ibinigay sa akin is to make sure that we deliver the items on time. But with regards po sa negotiations ni Mr. Lincoln Ong and his supplier, I have no idea po.
So, hindi mo alam kung mayroong transport, may truck kayong in-hire para maglipat itong inventory ito. Kasi hindi maliit ito eh. 500,000 surgical mask. Hindi mo alam kung ilang karton ito. Hindi mo rin alam kung sinong yung truck na nagdala doon. May binayaran ka ba sa truck? Mukhang hindi mo rin alam lahat. Hindi mo alam.
Mr. Chairman, as I said earlier po, si Mr. Lincoln Ong po ang nakipag-negotiate with his supplier. I was only asked to go to PSDBM to ensure na ma-deliver po yung items on time.
Okay, well, ensure ma-deliver items on time. And therefore, in order to deliver on time, you had to have transport facilities for 500,000 surgical masks. Hindi po ba?
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
O anong transport services na hinahir niyo?
I believe kasama na din po ito doon sa usapan ni Mr. Lincoln Ong and the supplier po.
Okay.
Makita yung supplier pero you believe kasama na sa usapan yon. Sino nagsabi sa'yo kasama na sa usapan yon? Panibago na masagot yan.
Mr. Chairman, that is what I believe lang po. Kasi as...
Why do you believe that? Nangyari na ba ito dati? First time na kayo mag-deliver eh. Wala pa yung bodega. Tapos sasabihin mo yung bodega para doon sa test kits. Tapos ngayon, hindi ko po alam. Then sa Lincoln anong sabi noon. Tapos meron silang... Talagang, obviously, talaga, you have been taking us for a ride. Now, let me go now to Lincoln Ong. Finally, let's go to Lincoln Ong.
Yes po, Mr. Chairman.
Alright. Anong sasabihin mo ngayon dito?
Pasensya na po, Mr. Chairman.
Yung supplier na yun.
Opo, pasensya na po, Mr. Chairman. Si Giselle, may COVID din.
Pasensya. Go ahead, tell me.
Mr. Chairman, marami po talaga akong mga kakilala na nag-i-import ng mga kung ano, especially like mask ng panahon ngayon. So, tama po si...
supplier mo. Sino yung supplier mo? Biglang may dumating na supplier. Nakakuha kayo ng request for quotation. Sabi ng tao mo, meron kami sa bodega, ina-deliver nyo kagad on the same day. Magikero, 2:30. Anong oras yan? Nakuha nyo 2:24 p.m. Sige. Paliwanag ka. Ikaw
Mr. Chairman, allow me to explain. Mr. Chairman, nung March ng 24, nag-LOI po ako sa PSDBM together with the sample na mag-offer po ako ng mask. Nung time na yan, na-meet ko niya si Mr. Lau nung day na yan, si Mr. Lau. Tapos, si Mr. Lau asking me if I can deliver the item ASAP kasi kailangan po nila. Pero, kailangan ko pa rin daw dumaan ang proseso. Nung time yan, wala din po naman talaga ako masyadong alam sa mga proseso yan. And I think the government will not cheat on me. So, nag-contact na ako sa supplier ko na baka pwedeng akin yung stocks, iset aside mo na sa akin stocks, tapos i-deliver mo yan the next day sa PSDBM. So, nung time yan, nagpa-facilitate na po ako ng delivery. Si Miss Crisel Mago, siya na po yung nag-comply sa mga procedural ng PSDBM. Yun po nangyari.
So, hindi tama na nililiver on the same day. Kung naman sinasabi mo ngayon, sinasambot ng mga yan.
Mr. Chairman, yung statement po ni Miss Mago is nakatanggap po kami ng RFQ at dineliver namin on the day of RFQ.
Alam mo, Lincoln, your record doesn't speak well for you already. Kaya ka na-contempt the other day. Ngayon, ini-interpret mo naman yung sinabi ni Crisel Mago. Alright? Sabi niya, deliver mo on the same day. Ngayon, sinasabi mo, ano naman sinasabi mo naman ngayon? Ikaw ang kumuha ng supplier eh. Sino yung supplier na yun? Yun ang tanong ko. Ba't di mo masagot?
Opo, si Tiger King po.
Pinukuli ha? Subukan.
Mr. Chairman, ang pangalan po ng supplier, Tiger Field Marketing. Tiger Field Marketing po ang pangalan ng supplier.
Tiger
Field Marketing po.
Ano yung second word?
Tiger.
Tagalin mo ngayon. Yung mask mo?
Mr. Chair, Tiger Field Marketing.
Spell Tiger ano?
TIGERPHIL Marketing.
Anong address? Anong address ng Tiger Field Marketing?
Tiger Field.
Opo. Mr. Chairman, kunin ko po yung address, i-send ko po sa email address ng Blue Ribbon ngayon.
Mr. Chair, very quickly, with the permission of the Chair, just one quick question kay Lincoln Ong. Yung Tiger Field,
yes, po.
Isa yun sa 4 na nabanggit na pinakilala ni Mr. Yang sa inyo?
Hindi po involved po dito si Mr. Michael Yang.
So hindi dito.
Wala pa siyang.
Oh, well,
Hindi po,
anyway,
hindi
yung
po.
apat na supplier na nabanggit mo kahapon, pakisubmit din yung pangalan ng apat na yun, no?
Okay po, okay po. Sige po.
Pinakilala sa inyo. Thank you.
Opo.
Alright, tinawag mo sila. Anong oras mo sila tinawagan?
Ay, Senator, ano po ulit ang tanong niyo? Mr.
Anong
Chairman.
oras mo sila tinawagan?
Tinawagan si supplier po?
Anong oras mo tinawagan si Tiger Field para mag-deliver ng 500,000 na hindi maliit na halaga?
Mr. Chairman, matagal ko na po kaibigan niya